Welcome to your favorite channel, where you'll learn everything you need to know to improve your health and lifestyle. Let's get started.
What if I told you that your mood, the way you handle stress, and maybe even some mental health issues could all be tied back to the bacteria living in your gut? It sounds a little bit out there, right? But stick with me because we're going to dive into this. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's actually one of the most exciting frontiers in medicine today. So let's just ask the big question right up front. Do gut bacteria control your brain? It sounds pretty wild, the idea that these trillions of tiny organisms inside of us could have a say in how we think and feel. But, the research is pointing to a really clear answer, and it's that they have way more influence than we ever imagined. Yup, that's right. It's not sci-fi. There is a constant two-way conversation happening between your digestive system and your brain right now as you're listening to this. And scientists have a special name for this incredible connection. It's called the microbiota gut-brain axis. Now that's a mouthful, I know, but just think of it like a biological superhighway. Information is just constantly zipping back and forth, connecting your gut with the parts of your brain that handle emotions and thoughts. And this really means one thing: what happens in your gut definitely does not stay in your gut. So, okay, how does this secret network actually work? I mean, how on earth do trillions of bacteria send messages all the way up to your brain? Well, it turns out they're pretty clever. They've got a few different ways to get the job done. The communication pretty much boils down to three main channels. You've got a direct physical line, almost like a hardwired connection. Then there's a chemical delivery system that uses your blood. And finally, there's the production of these powerful little molecules that can directly mess with your brain's chemistry. First up, we have the vagus nerve. This thing is huge. It's like a giant fiber optic cable running directly from your gut to your brainstem. Now get this, there was a study in mice where a specific probiotic, Lactobacillus rhamnosus, helped reduce their anxiety. But when scientists cut the vagus nerve, that effect completely vanished. It's proof of a direct physical connection. It's just incredible. So the second route is through the bloodstream. Picture your gut lining as this tightly woven protective wall. But sometimes that wall can get damaged and become leaky. When that happens, bits of bacteria and other unwanted stuff can sneak out into your bloodstream. This triggers your immune system, causing inflammation all over your body. And that inflammation can absolutely reach the brain, where it's been linked to feelings of depression and anxiety. And speaking of what's going on in the gut, just take a look at this number. It's estimated that 95% of your body's serotonin is made in your gut. Serotonin, that's the key neurotransmitter that helps regulate your mood, happiness, your general well-being. And it's coming from your gut, not your brain. This brings us to that third pathway, metabolites. You know that old saying, a full belly, a happy heart? Well, it turns out there's a lot of real science packed into that. Our gut bacteria are basically tiny chemical factories. You know how yeast will eat sugar and then produce alcohol? Well, our gut bacteria do something similar. They munch on the food we eat and create their own powerful byproducts, which we call metabolites. And just look at the stuff they can make. We're talking about key neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which are huge for mood and motivation. They also make GABA, which has a calming effect, and things like butyrate, which is a short-chain fatty acid that helps fight inflammation. These aren't just random byproducts. These are neuroactive chemicals that are directly influencing how you feel, moment to moment. Okay, so we've got this amazing, complex communication system. It's elegant, it's powerful, but what happens when that system starts to break down? Well, the problem has a name. It's called dysbiosis. This is basically when the whole ecosystem in your gut gets thrown out of balance. The good guys start to disappear, and some of the more harmful microbes can start to take over. Now, there's a ton of scientific literature linking this exact state of imbalance to a higher risk for depression and anxiety disorders. So what causes this? Well, the culprits are probably going to look pretty familiar. We're talking about the hallmarks of modern life. A diet that's low in fiber and high in processed junk basically starves our good bacteria. Antibiotics, while life-saving, can be like a bomb going off in our gut. And then there's chronic stress. When you're always stressed out, your body is stuck in fight or flight, and it's not prioritizing things like digestion. That changes the whole environment in your gut, and often not for the better. And you have to remember, this is a two-way street. That's so important. Stress is the perfect example. Feeling stressed can literally change the makeup of your gut bacteria. But then that newly altered gut microbiota can make you less able to handle stress. It becomes this vicious feedback loop that can be really, really tough to get out of. Now check this out. This slide is fascinating because it shows you the scale of these changes. We tend to think of our genes as being set in stone, right? But genetics only accounts for about 2 to 8% of your gut microbe composition. Diet can swing it by 5 to 20%, but look at stress. It can alter your gut by up to 5%. That's almost as much as some major dietary changes. And it could be even more impactful than your own genetic code. That's huge.
Okay, so what's the good news in all this? Well, if the gut microbiota can be changed for the worse, it can absolutely be changed for the better. And this simple fact is opening up an incredible new frontier for how we approach mental wellness.
And that brings us to this really cool new field called psychobiotics. Yeah, psychobiotics. Researchers coined the term to describe specific live bacteria, probiotics, that when you take them can actually produce a positive health benefit for your mental state. It's a super targeted approach to using bacteria to help the brain. And the research is getting so specific now. We're not just talking about grabbing any old yogurt from the grocery store. Scientists have identified particular strains that seem to have very targeted benefits. For example, one called Bifidobacterium longum 1714 has been shown to actually lower levels of cortisol. That's the main stress hormone. Another, Lactobacillus plantarum PS128, has been linked to reducing anxiety and depression-like behaviors in early studies. So what does all this mean for the future? Well, it's paving the way for some potentially revolutionary new treatments. We're talking about everything from highly specialized probiotic supplements to, on the more experimental side, things like fecal transplants. I know it sounds wild, but early trials have shown that transferring a healthy microbiome into someone with treatment-resistant depression can actually lead to some really remarkable improvements in their mood. So, what can you do with this information right now? How do you put it into practice? Well, the action plan is actually refreshingly straightforward. First, you've got to feed your good bacteria. That means eating lots of different kinds of fiber-rich foods. Think plants. Second, try to bring in some fermented foods, which are natural sources of probiotics. Think yogurt, kimchi, kefir. Be mindful about antibiotics. Only use them when you really need to. Find healthy ways to manage your stress. And of course, limit your alcohol intake. These are all practical steps you can take to support your own gut-brain axis. Look, at the end of the day, that conversation between your head and your gut is happening all the time, whether you're paying attention to it or not. Every single choice we make, from how we decide to handle a stressful day to what we put on our plate for dinner, it's all a part of that conversation. So the only real question left is, what message do you want to send?
Here are some tips to help you have a healthy and strong body and mind. Remember that we upload videos every day.
Welcome to The Explainer. We're breaking down longevity and biohacking and how you can actually apply them. First, a modern paradox. Then, the real goal. And finally, your toolkit for taking action. So here's the central question. Modern medicine helps us live longer, but are we living healthier? Lifespan is just how long you live. Health span is how many of those are good, healthy years. That's the goal. Currently, about 20% of the average life is spent in poor health. That's a huge gap to close. And this quote really nails it. It's not about anti-aging, it's about adding life to your years. And this isn't science fiction. Longevity science is all about preventing age-related decline before it starts. And biohacking? That's how you do it. It's using data to make smart choices for your own biology. So what's the big idea here? We're shifting from reacting to sickness to proactively preventing it. Okay, so how do you actually apply all this? Let's think of it like a pyramid, starting at the bottom. The foundation is all about lifestyle, diet, exercise, sleep. These are the absolute basics you can control now. Okay, next level up, proactive monitoring. This means using data to see what's really going on inside. Epigenetic clocks, for example, can estimate your biological age from your DNA. Way more telling than your birthday. Then you've got DEXA scans. This gives you the real inside story on your muscle, fat, and bone density. Metabolic flexibility is huge. It's just how well your body switches fuel sources, from carbs to fats. All right, level 3, targeted interventions. Think supplements and tech that zero in on specific aging pathways. This is where it gets really interesting. For example, senolytics are compounds that clear out dysfunctional zombie cells. And at the very top of the pyramid, medically supervised therapies that target the core drivers of aging. New thinking suggests an order of operations here. Boost energy, then do cleanup, then remove cellular junk. So when you put it all together, you see the big picture. It's a huge shift in how we see health. And this chart says it all, right? We're moving away from just reacting to illness toward preventing it. So this leaves us with a question. Longevity is about adding life to your years. How will you invest?
If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers so I can bring you better content. See you tomorrow with a new video.